So, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Welcome to yet another episode of Moving Sings, Working Sings webinar that we are doing it today, and we will be basically talking about unmasking the new hybrid work uh, for the unicorns and the startups and how things are shaping up for them, uh, especially during this era where things are quite volatile and quite uncertain in terms of the way things have been shaping up. And I'm glad that I have uh, two wonderful panelists who come from the industry, who have fairly good amount of experience. Unfortunately or fortunately, the pandemic has squared everybody's experience, and we have got all a new learning. The learning on fire, I would say, and that's how we have really taken this up. But before that, I just wanted to call out that we were supposed to have Mrinal as well on this discussion, who is the chief people officer at Cars 24, but he had to drop off, unfortunately, due to some internal requirement that he had. And I'm also thankful that I have the two of our panelists who have joined us. Let me just quickly introduce you to them. Mr. Lokesh Sharma, who is the vice president for admin at the GirnarSoft, the company which has some of the brilliant and very fast growing brands, unicorns in fact, not even growing, I would say they're already well established in ShoreTech, cardeco.com, and that's. Thank you so much, Lokesh, for joining this session and giving us your time to discuss on this very important topic that we have. Uh,
Thanks, Manish. Thanks. Really means really honored to be here along with you and Britto.
uh,
Looking forward to a very great session here.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited about it. And I'm also joined by Britto Ambrose. Britto, thank you so much for joining this session with us. Britto is VP of People and Culture at XOXOday, one of the very interesting companies, I must say, bringing smiles to a lot of faces across. And that's what I think XOXO or ZOZO means. So,
Yeah,
Brito, I would just want you to quickly talk about yourself, and then we'll start with it.
thank you so much, Manish. Hello, Lokesh, and hi, everybody on the call. I'm not sure if you can see the total number of people, but my name is Britto. I have recently joined ZOZOday as the Vice President of People and Culture, but prior to ZOZOday, I spent about 11 years working at Aditi, which is a technology and a consulting solutions company. I had the privilege to set up operations right from ground up, especially the HR gamut. And what is very unique about me is the experience that I carry on digital transformation. I've been very passionate about that. And at Aditi, it's quite different. The leaders and the founders were very forward-looking, which is one of the reasons why even during COVID times there wasn't too much of chaos. The organization was very smooth, other than just the infrastructure requirements of moving people or shipping their laptop. Especially IT was the only team that was struggling, but most of the systems that we needed to run an organization digitally, I think it was already there. So I had the privilege to play an important role in implementing all those solutions. I'm super happy to be here. And I look forward to this conversation with Lokesh, Manish, and I
Thank
also
you
look
very
forward
much.
to some interesting questions from the participants come our way. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Brito, for that introduction. Lokesh and I have been in panel earlier also as well in Delhi NCR region, and we had some very interesting conversation. I must say that. But before we move forward to the audience that who has joined us today, and thank you so much for joining us as well on this discussion. While we will be interacting, I will be interacting with my fellow panelists. I would also welcome you all to come up with any questions that you may have, and we'll be happy to answer them. Uh, Unfortunately, we are on a webinar. Had we been in a physical event, I'm sure we would have had a lot of interactions. But nevertheless, let's not cut down the experience of that. If you have any questions,
Yeah.
please feel free to write, and we'll be happy to answer as many as possible. But now let's just begin with our discussion that we have in mind today. And I'll be stopping the sharing of the slides because I don't think this is going to be more of a conversation that we want to have instead of sharing some slides out here. So what has happened in the last 2 years, if you look at, and I'm not going to spend much time on evaluating or doing a postmortem on the pandemic. Luckily, we are reaching or moving towards the endemic, and I hope things are going to change. I'm in Mumbai city where the mask is no more a mandatory thing; it's been removed. And look, you would have experienced it 2 days back when you were in Mumbai.
Yeah,
So
I did that. Somebody asked me for a vaccination. I was scrolling through my mobile, looking for the vaccination certificate. And by the time I realized I am unable to do that, that person was gone. So things are improving with every passing minute. Uh, but the fear in people's mind is still there. So when I was, on my flight from Mumbai to Jaipur, they were, flight crew who were being requested by customers to request other fellow flyers
absolutely,
to
yeah,
put on mask.
right.
So yeah, the fear still is there, but then we as a community who are fighters and carry those, you know, genes with us that dust, rain, sun cannot do any harm to us. What
Right.
is Corona to us? So probably we can defeat anything, and we are living. We have
I
learned to
think
live with Corona. I think Indians
absolutely.
are the fastest
I think we
communicators.
have to be. We still have to maintain our safety, take the precaution that is required
Yeah.
for our and other safety. But what I was just trying to talk about is during the last 2 years, there's another kind of a storm that picked up, and the storm that picked up was that India created a huge number of unicorns. Practically every 5 days, there was a unicorn coming in the year of 2022 so far. That is how it has happened, and it's like it's predicted to add almost like 50 more in the coming year. So that's like a huge churn that is happening, which means technology is really becoming a flavor of everybody's requirement. Digitally, employ customers are very evolved. They are moved towards I call it a mad world, mechanized, automated, and digitized world. That's where we are going towards. The machine is playing its role, automation is playing its role, and digitization is where the users are really engaging on, and that's where your businesses, both of your businesses and our business also similarly is on a digital platform, how things have happened. And India has today at this point of time total of almost 83 startups with a collective valuation of US dollar 277.77 billion, and that speaks volumes about how the country is really shaping up in terms of the businesses and in terms of the new opportunity that is coming up. So this webinar that we are having is primarily talk about the unicorns and not just about the incumbents and the ID companies, but we are looking at because the pattern in unicorns have been very very different than the regular ITS companies in terms of the return to office. And what we have seen is while the other industries were showing, and I'm not talking about the manufacturing here, but I'm just primarily talking about ITS, when they were showing about 12 to 15 to 20% of return, unicorns were almost like reaching 60% of the return to office in terms of the employee. I think one of the reason maybe because the nature of the business that it has, and the amount of collaboration, amount of consulting that each employee has to do. The culture of the organization also had to build in parallel, and there was, I think, too many things on the plate from both HR and from admin to look at. Right, so you both will agree because one, Brito, you come from HR background, Lokesh, you come from the FM background. So, and then there was this trend of hybrid work really taking shape. We have been hearing of hybrid. Now, hybrid also has moved towards different genres. So there is one office-centric hybrid, then there is a hybrid remote office. Office-centric means more of the employees are spending time in the office, a few days of working from home. I mean, you can look at examples of Amazon and Apple. Hybrid remote offices have been where employees get to choose to work between office and home, and it's up to them. And then there have been remote friendly hybrid where a sizable percentage of employee, almost like 75% of employee are working from home. I mean, we can see Misho is one of the example that has been moving. GitHub is another one. Twitter is another one which have been doing it. So what does my first question to I'll start with from HR perspective and then I'll come to the admin perspective, right? It's an interesting combination that we have today. So I will come to the HR. Is what does your hybrid look like, and how are you adapting to it, and how are you driving it to your employees as well? So can we just have some insights from you, Brito, on this?
Absolutely. So at XOXOday, Manish, we are looking at, we are obviously moving hybrid, no doubt about that. Just not because everybody else is moving hybrid. We embrace the benefits, the advantages that comes working on a hybrid model. And all the more reason with Gen Z and millennials today looking at more of flexible working, and the kind of talent that we attract, it becomes one of your talent strategy, if you so to say. And you gave a great example of Nisho, and there are many other companies which have adopted this. At Zozo Day, on-premise is going to be our first priority, even on the hybrid working model. So That is because when you talk about on-premise, what it does is builds those connections, those human connections, which we all know it's lacking today, right? However, through remote work, we also know there is good efficiency. I don't think there has been any study or any complaints around productivity going low. In fact, companies have done really, really well. So we are very aware of that fact, which is why what we have consciously thought about is, hey, those employees who haven't been in the office for the last 6 months, so for them it's going to be on premise first, but they are most welcome to go work 2 or 3 days from their home. But for those who've been regular to the office, like even right now I am in the office, I can see a lot of people coming. For them it's remote first. Hey, it's okay, you want to give some space for the others to come in. And also Manish and Lokesh, you would agree to the fact how organizations have taken a very careful stand around their real estate footprint as well, right? So we shut down some of the operations and have a very small office, limited seaters and whatnot. So we will come to that. But to answer your question, that's the kind of model we're looking at
I mean,
XOXOday.
you brought out a very important aspect also of the kind of uh, human capital also has been really getting eroded during this period, which is more of to do with the interactions of employees,
Yes,
and that is where when company like you says that you are going to get people back to office. I think one of the reason is also to build those interaction which had taken a
connections.
pause, and the interaction more we were on a digital platform, and so a balance of what I understand is a balance of digital and a balance of I would call it phygital then, but right? So
That sounds
a
beautiful.
balance is
Digital,
required.
yes.
So, Lokesh, what do you have to look at for the same question from an admin perspective? Because there is a CXO who has an expectation from the business point of view. There's an HR who is playing a role of balancing the employee and the requirement, and there is a facility team. And for a company like yours, which has got different verticals, you have different businesses to look at, and also bring in your insights to ensure that you balance it out with each of the vertical that you have. How do you look at from an admin point of view, and what is your take on this? I'm sure you're in the office. You are on mute, Lokesh, in case.
Sorry, Manish, I didn't realize that. So quite challenging, the first word coming out of my mind. But then I personally believe that this was something which was already in place. We were already, practicing hybrid, workplaces. What used to be a top-notch, privilege for CEOs and CXOs, Corona just, expedited it. Corona ensured that everybody was working with even more rigor because everybody wanted and needed to show his or her role in the organization, the performance, and people who were actually seeing this as a top-notch privilege, they had it in their hand. It became a necessary evil for everybody. Now the biggest challenge for admin function was how to bring back the employees safely to the workplace, and it did not involve only one or two main to-do list, but then there were a lot of boxes to be ticked. So probably first is convincing the employees, second is sanitization safety, third is probably how do you provide storage spaces for all those employees who are working from home. How do you ensure that safety and security of security of your information is ensured? How do you ensure that people are engaged while sitting remotely? How do you ensure that people who are working remotely get equal attention, have equal or easy access to the information, are kept informed, kept engaged? So there were so many challenges, so many boxes to be ticked. As an admin function, I would say that every day there were new fires and new fire extinguishers, the
So,
same kind of fire extinguisher.
do you think that this was a similar trend in across? Is it a common trend across unicorns or startups?
Uh,
Fire is very
Yeah,
different
to a
in
large
my.
extent, Manish, yes. And because unicorns are ever evolving, the needs are ever, these are dynamic needs. So one day one plus one is two, the next day the same formula doesn't apply. So
Okay.
today you may need seats for 250 people, and tomorrow the seats numbers may grow up to 750, and day after tomorrow the numbers may again dip to 100. So the need of the hour was to stay, a function which is always improvising as per the needs of the organization. So I'll just give you an example. So we have multiple businesses, multiple verticals, multiple CEOs, CXOs, and everybody sees his business shaping up as per their plans, and they have different requirements. As a centralized function, you cannot say that left hand side is equal to the right hand side. If I do this at this side, I will have to do the same or apply the same formula there. So you will always have to think from their angle and provide a better solution. So yes, I think these times were challenging, but it has given us that confidence that come what may, the show will go on. And if we as together, a team work towards solution, we can find one. Hybrid was always there. It is not a new concept. We were moving towards hybrid. Corona just, multiplied and the pace of the transition, I think. Yeah.
So basically, you are saying that Corona or pandemic era leapfrogged the whole requirement, adoption or digitalization of the office space became much faster than what it was earlier. We were trying to push it. We were trying to make people adopt to solutions that may have been available, but because of the nature of the business, because instantly also in most of the unicorns, the businesses of those unicorns or startups are primarily to solve a problem of a market problem, a problem in the real world which a customer is facing, and therefore the customer engagements are very important. And therefore, if you're not in touch with your customer and if you're not building a solution towards that, you possibly can also see a lot of dip happening in the product uptake or in terms of your digital adoption of the customers also. So there is a huge shift in terms of the business, in terms of the your customer retention of the customer, and in also your own internal customer, which are the employees, that you have to also engage them, retain them. And that's what I take it from you, that you said is the trends which is showing is constant. There's no one one
Fixed
fit
formula.
for all kind of a thing, and all the employees, they can be situations are very dynamic. It can change on ground like real time. Today it can be one, tomorrow it can be something else, and so on. So Brito, I come back to you. Now you heard from a admin voice of the admin, right? Let's look at that. At the HR level, how do you balance this out, and what kind of measures you take, what kind of trends that you see, both from a admin, because I'm sure you would be expecting the admin to do certain activity that you see from an employee perspective, and they will be pushed back also during a period like this. What kind of interaction that you guys have in your boardrooms, and how do you make these things really work from the business point of view, which also results in your employee retention, employee experiences? Because for us, for example, at Work in Sync, we have focused a lot on the employee experience, because if the employee acceptance of the solution is not there, or in a similar case, like if I am not going to use a app that is there, for example, Car Deco is there, or InsurTech is there, or Insurance Deco is there, or XOXOday is there, and if my interaction will be more on the app. So if I'm not really spending time on that as a customer, then obviously there's something wrong. So you'll be pushing it for engagement. But from an employee perspective, how do you look at that?
Well, great question, Manish. So, I mean, we have to accept the fact that the attrition has been high. We have lost good talent, and for various reasons. Now, the talent strategy that we look at when we hire people is obviously not just going to be enough by the kind of people we bring in, but also it's what we are going to offer. So a lot of selling that's happening, and it's just not plain selling, but we are really looking into everything from be it our policies, be it the benefits that we offer to our people, because you now have an opportunity to repurpose all the spend you were incurring elsewhere, right? So from a HR standpoint, the first and the most important thing that we are doing is having those authentic conversations with our people at various levels. Obviously, surveys do help, but then we like when I'm in the office, I go walk the hall, have those conversations with managers. Yesterday I was talking to a couple of heads in the business unit, understanding what challenges their teams are facing and how as an HR we can come towards that rescue and try and help them get out of that monotony. Mostly around fatigue people are facing, but everybody is willing to come. People are coming to the office, so we are spending more time connecting with them and probably offering them services such as, hey, why don't you guys go have a nice team outing, and then build those connections and collaborations. And also that is also largely impacting impacting the way we are running the HR function. So especially talking about how people enter the organization through applications. So you need a proper system there. You need an applicant tracking system. You need a human resource or a human capital management system to manage the data, and a learning management system. We know one of the biggest challenges today as a leader that I am facing is building the next level leaders, which is your hybrid leaders. Because it's no longer centralized, decentralized, it's all distributed now. So you need a hybrid leader to come and manage these teams. So all of this is pretty new. There is no written playbook or one size fits all approach. So
Right.
it's really getting down to the deep level, having those intense conversations. And our own product, which is Impulse, is something that we live and breathe day in and day out. So you talk about town halls, conversations, recognitions, appreciations. We are doing everything in Impulse. That's how we are connected for now. But yes, that I mean, as we step forward, we need to see how we can bring everybody together, be it platform or even in person.
Right. So before I come to you both with the next question, let me just tell you how the unicorns are leading the way. And if you, it's very interesting, and I'm sure it's not hidden fact from you all, but for the interest of the audience, I just want to bring out some of this. Like 60% of the employees who are coming to the office come for 10 or more days in a month, right? And while only 21% of the corporate employee come to the office for more than 10 days. So different between the established and the unicorn, you see the difference. I mean, I would not say established. I would say the IT, the incumbents, the companies who have already been there in the business. The energy levels in unicorns and startups are very different than what you will
Yes.
see in a traditional company. So there is a difference there. The second is also unicorn employees spend about 8.5 hours in office against an average duration of 7.4 hours for corporate employees. So the kind time you spend in, and that's where the productivity comes in picture, right? From unicorn perspective, the productivity is much faster. You are required to deliver those kind of results, and therefore, employee engagement, those time spent in the office, time spent in collaboration, is extremely important. Also, employees also all across seems to prefer Tuesdays, Thursdays, and now we are seeing an uptick on Wednesdays also, by the way. So Tuesdays, Thursdays were the one. If you ask me in the month of March, it was Tuesday and Thursdays. February, Tuesday and Thursdays. But now in April, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which is picking up, and about 30% more than other days of the weekday is what we see coming on these 3 days. So these are some interesting aspect that is coming out of this. Also, the employees are coming to the office primarily for collaborative work. So it's not just that you're coming and sitting on your seat and then which means the employees are also checking on when are the other colleagues coming in. My reporting managers is coming in. My colleague in the same department is coming. I would prefer coming to the office because the idea is that I need to engage, I need to talk, I need to understand what more we can do about it. And this is cross functional. It's not like, so today if I have to work in sync, if I have to discuss something from a sales perspective, because what some customer would have told me, I need my product team to be there. I need to have those kind of engagement with them to understand this is what it is. A little of design thinking comes there because you need to engage with each other to understand how we are going to be putting the products together. Now, and this is again when the collaboration is happening between the number of meeting rooms being booked is much higher than what it used to be in the past. Earlier we will sit on a seats and then manage work, but now interestingly the meeting room bookings have really gone up, and most of the companies today are also redesigning their offices, repurposing their offices. It is no more a place where you just come and sit and work, but it is more of a repurpose of the offices is happening, which means employees are spending more time. They want more of bean bags, they want more of collaboration space, they want to have more of discussion over a coffee. And that's how you see most of the co-working spaces have redesigned their offices. No more just the traditional office that you see. So those are the kind of aspects we are seeing now. Meeting room usage is increasing fast, and like if you look at it from November of last year, by January it was like it went up by like almost 25% in terms of the meeting room bookings going up. So the focus of employees engaging with each other is also shifting than what you and I would have spent about. We have collectively been working for more than 10 years, right, and 20 years as well. So the way we used to work is very different than the Gen Z is working. So Gen Z and millennials are working in two different directions. People from the baby
Yeah.
boomers are taking the shots. Unicorns, the decision maker themselves may be from a Gen Z or a millennial. So it's a very different situation that we are dealing with, which means we are all on up on our toes. We want those freedoms. We're not really planning to build our own assets. We're looking at so many subscription offers available. So the employees' direction towards their own personal growth has also changed, and that has to be aligned with the organization's goals as well, right? How do you do that? How do you look at aligning those goals of the company with your team? And do you see some play role of technology that is coming in there? Let me take it to again to HR then first to Brito.
Definitely, Manish. In fact, before I jump into the performance side, I think you touched upon a very interesting point, which is repurposing the office space, and we are looking at it as we speak. Because, in fact, yesterday Manoj Agarwal, who's one of our co-founders, he was doing a very beautiful session for our sales team. But then you have a bunch of people sitting here in the office, and there are people on call. I'm not sure how effective, or if people on video or on call were able to really grasp that, and we haven't solved the problem yet. We are seeing how we can solve the problem, but we do not know. But anyway, coming to your point in terms of performance and how our employees' goals are all aligned, one of the biggest changes that is coming up at XOXOday is we're looking at moving or changing our performance methodology to an OKR methodology. And OKRs, is objectives and key results, and it helps cascade and align. It's one of the best methodologies for any organization to really achieve, moonlight performance and whatnot. Um, it cannot be obviously done through Excels or any other system. It really needs a standard system like an OKR system. We do have a human resource management system that we are using, but it's not really helpful in that way. So the plan that we have is to move to a proper OKR methodology system, and really bring people together, have conversations with them about performance, and really start from the top level in terms of the executive sponsorship to how it's going to break down to various levels in the organization before it can boil down to the last employee. It's a journey by itself, and I think it's people are more accommodative on these fronts because they love having these conversations to understand what they're expected to be doing, so they can prioritize their work, and also together as a team can accomplish the goals that they are set up. But that's kind of what I see is training at XOXOday.
So, should I say that the approach is being very agile in terms of interaction with
Absolutely.
OKRs, and you're looking at performances in a very different manner altogether with the uses of technology in the right manner, also balancing it out together.
Absolutely, and it's no longer focused on the efforts. It's all the results people can bring, and you weed out the efforts, and make sure they focus on the results too, and give them the freedom to be able to accomplish that.
If I may ask you, how how much weightage are you going to give to getting your employees back to office in as we move on, let's say from May onwards?
Well, it's a tough question, but maybe what 50-50. It's too early for me to answer that, but yeah, at the moment I can say maybe
Oh,
50.
that's a good jump, because if you're talking about 50-50, that's still better than what the current markets are. But interestingly, what we have seen in the month of April, there has been a steady jump in terms of people coming back to office across cities, not just in one
Yes.
Bangalore city or Delhi or Mumbai. So which also brings it to the point that our approach has to be very flexible, and that is what Lokesh also spoke when in his opening comments about how flexibility is becoming very important for us to take decision, and we need to be flexible enough to respond to changes without being solely guided by the events. And if you look at during the pandemic, we have taken decisions uh, to stop or start the office basis the event that unfolded in front of us. But with the first wave, second wave, third wave, and if there is, God willingly, I hope it doesn't happen, but if there is a fourth wave, I'm not sure. I don't think we're going to respond it in like the first wave, right? We're going to be
Absolutely.
responding in a
Happen.
much different manner. How are you geared up for that location? Uh, what is the role of technology you see from admin perspective? Because I'm sure you will be setting up a facility roadmap also, or you would have already set up a facility roadmap. So
So,
what kind of
Manish,
solutions you're going to be looking at?
I think I will just share one input supplement to what Brito has said. I think where and when work gets done will be a function of what makes the most sense to drive the highest levels of productivity and engagement. So,
Got it.
because all the companies, most of the companies, either they do or they don't. Everybody claims to be employee centric.
Right.
Sorry, no offense to any organization, but yes, people first. Safety is on the top of everyone's mind. And to ensure that technology was the only solve, there were ample number of solutions available. So right from recruiting a candidate, the way it was done in traditional way, face to face interviews, 1 round, 2 rounds, JDs and all whatnot, group discussions. Now there were technology based solutions to have virtual meetings, interactions. Then how to bring the employee back? There were usually this punching machines and biometric attendance. Now it was face recognition, touch free solutions. The door would automatically open equipped with the sensor. Facility had to think out of the box how to provide a workplace to the employee which is not touched by anybody else. Even it extended to the boardrooms, the washrooms, the entrance doors. Then the next is providing uh, enough tracking for the employees. And as leaders also, you want to interact with other leaders. You want to make decisions based on your mutual discussion, which probably, if I am a person who's sitting at home in a weaker data secure network and my organization information is flowing to my home, what kind of state of mind the owner or the MD of the company will be that his data is at risk. So there were multiple problems, and technology came as a savior, and we could actually leverage on collaboration tools, communication platforms, documents management, probably, and Brito, you would, I think, echo me. Human capital management, of course, was done through various tools. Office capacity. So this idea came to us when we saw that we can book any seat in the cinema. Why can't it be done in our offices? So employees sitting at their homes could just log into the website and probably book a workstation for themselves. And
Well, I'll come to this point now. It's very interesting because that's the hot seating and the hoteling solution that we are talking about.
yeah,
And traditionally, people have been always very territorial in their approach of anything. I go out of a theater and I was sitting on a seat A. I would come back to get back to the same seat, right? Uh, so was there a challenge in terms of addressing this part? Because now we were decluttering this whole offices. Now we were not really assigning any specific seat to any individual, and also again to manage the entire office space. If you have a company which got multiple floors and office and seats, it is not possible manually to manage. That was not possible. So you had to give them an interface where they could interact, and that's where Workinsing also spent time in building a solution which could allow employees to book their seats, allowed them to book the meeting rooms, and so on and so forth. We also emphasized a lot on the data because a lot of companies went towards database decision making, right? Which means they wanted to have those predictions coming out. They wanted to understand what kind of reports are coming out, what kind of user behavior is coming up. So coming back to the question, you were not now giving a fixed seat to anybody. Was there a challenge in terms of convincing your employees?
not exactly convincing the employees. I think implementation was a challenge, and we had to initially, experiment on a smaller team, and then probably, take the learnings along to implement it at an organization level. So, on a capacity of 1,000, I would say we were using only 300 odd seats.
Right.
And trust me, it took us a week to realize the right formula to get this done. So there was day after day experimentation, and by the end of the week there was a fit formula which was to be cascaded to the entire environment. That also needed technology. That also needed acknowledgement from the employees that I have read and understood how I can book my seat for the day. So
Right.
probably yes. And before that, a lot of homework was done to understand people's requirement, team members' requirement, which team will come on which day, or probably the permutation and combination of the various teams which would factor in while deciding the total number of seats you would need from the co-working, because uh, the overheads for the co-workings also increased during those days. Every after every use they had to sanitize the entire premise. After every utilization or before every utilization, they had to put a notification so that people can use that space without. So we used to put notification outside the cabins. This cabin has been sanitized on so and so date, so and so time. This seat or workstation has been sanitized. So probably it was a multi-facet effort, and I think technology helped us a lot. Without technology, this could not have been possible. Yeah.
Interesting location. And in fact, we also built a feature where when the housekeeping was cleaning the seats or sanitizing the seats, they were supposed to go to an URL, and like, let's say if they are going on floor 1, bay 2, bay 3, they are cleaning up, they used to immediately just update it, okay, this floor has been cleaned. So what we ended up doing is, when the employee was booking those seats, they were able to see at what time, when was the last sanitation done. So there was a more of a, safety measures, we were able to drive it across. And these were some insights or inputs that came from companies who wanted this kind of information flow to happen. uh, so hybrid, I understand, is again helping in managing this, and I will come back to you with the same question in a different manner, uh, with a different situation. Brito, I'll come to you on this question, which you are talking about. Hybrid has been addressing these kind of challenges that we see. And do you also have interaction with your facility team or admin team to understand any kind of feedback that you get from your employees, that you put it across to your admin team, and how much adoption of hybrid is really happening at your place, and are employees happy with that, and is that really giving you results the way you look at?
Well, I would say here and there, because now just talking about today's call, I mean, I had to literally come and occupy this space 30 minutes before the meeting just to make sure I receive this cabin, or else as people come into the office, nobody knows. Everybody is going to jump into one or the other cabin to take their calls. So solutions like, work and sync and products like that definitely do help, because it's going to help us have a method to that madness.
Right.
Like Lokesh beautifully said, you need to know which team is coming, and really that's very important. Who are all coming? What are they going to do? And accordingly is how facilities is going to manage this whole
Just
space. Yeah.
adding to that point, the rostering mechanism itself has changed during the pandemic, and that
Yeah.
is when Lokesh said that, how people, which team is going to come, those information flow has to happen to the admin and team as well. Yeah, please continue.
And everything that goes into it, I mean, the moment you come to know how many people are going to be there in the office is how you can plan everything else in terms of, hey, do we need to have food for these people arranged, transport, and all the desks that needs to be sanitized every day, and how we can ensure. And health and safety is obviously the first priority, right? So we take this feedback seriously. And today in our office, as people are coming, we know, we kind of have a pulse now on all the people who come regularly. So we know there are about 40 to 50 who will show up every day in the week. But at the same time, all the other travels, we plan for the others who wants to come for collaboration and connection, the same reasons that you were mentioning earlier. Yeah.
Awesome. It actually takes me back to, we all have studied Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Needs.
Now,
Yeah.
the first hierarchy, the need it starts from is physiological needs. I need to be
Roti, kapda, and makan.
yes, body kapda. So physiological safety, love, and uh, love is the other
Yeah,
fact, belongingness of that, and then
linked
the
to self-actualization.
esteem and the self-actualization. And if you look at it from a technology aspect now, you need a technology which could drive the information to your employee, that the place that you're going to come back to work is safe. It's from a physical aspect of it. And also, you as an admin is looking from an employee that you are safe and you are healthy when you are coming back to office. So I need those information from you, which means, are you vaccinated or not, have you made your self declaration or not. So those were very important from the step one of the physiological part. The safety concern, now the employee wanted to know that the office which is coming to is safe, and the company wanted to know that the employee is coming, because of him my office premise should not get affected. So the safety became a paramount. Again, the technology played a role in terms of driving that message. The information is going on there. Love and belonging, and that's where the HR comes in. Like when you're talking about love and belonging, it is that fact where the collaboration is happening, where the culture is getting built of the company, where your social capital, which had got eroded, is actually reshaping it up. Because now that is what, because quite often we have heard employees have come and joined the company, and they have left the company, or they have joined, we don't know, they haven't met anybody, they've just seen screens of each other. And most of the companies have also come back, the employees are on a blank screen, so we don't know who we are really talking to, right? So it's like, those kind of things. So the sense of belonging, the company that has to drive it, also comes with the hybrid, also comes with the technology solution that you give to your employee. The employee feels more welcome, more belonging to the place. And then after the and then the step comes to the esteem part, right? So when the esteem, I'm not talking from the ego perspective, but the moment you give a free hand to the employee, that now you can decide to come to office, this is an app where you can book your seat. This is the app where you can book your meeting room. This is the app where you can say that, okay, I need a parking, or I need a company transport, or I'm going to have my food, and then company makes the provision, which means I am deciding, and I'm also looking at what my other colleagues are coming or not. So there's more of a bonding collaboration. So I go with a sense of, you know, authority. I go with a sense of belief that, you know, I am an important aspect of the company, and my information that I'm putting it in the system is being accounted for and is being taken there. So the ideal situation where, Lokesh, we come to, which you called out, self-actualization, is the situation where, irrespective of whatever problem that we face or whatever new situation comes in, we are now at a steady stage where a balance of technology, a balance of manpower, a balance of goal and result, everything is translating into the business that you want to run, giving an experience to your employees, giving an experience to your admin team, giving an experience to your HR team, and the CXO is able to meet and is able to focus on things that he or she should be focusing, and not on people management, because then there are people to manage that, right? So do you sync with that? Do you think I put it in the right manner in terms of balancing this whole thing?
You did, Manish. Sorry, Brito, I'm just barging in. But then there are three ways to it. One, let's go back, 2 years back when Corona just kicked in. And we all we all can laugh about it. Those were the days when if somebody sneezed who's standing next to you, you felt like they're standing next to a terrorist, right? It made people very self-conscious about their health. It made people, very responsible. All the people, most of the people behaved in a responsible manner. If they were exposed to the virus, if they had cold, if they had cough, just quarantined themselves. They separated themselves,
Correct.
and people were looking for not only separating themselves from the masses, they will always keeping the others informed about their state of health. One, then technology is only ends to the means. Technology will take you where you want to go. If you want to keep everybody informed that you're not keeping well, like most of the politicians, the celebrities did, that they are, keeping out of the actions because of the exposure to the virus. Technology will take you where you want to be taken.
Right.
So yes, you put it very right, Manish. uh, Lot of information to and fro had to happen, and but the intent, the human intent, always was the principal factor in that. Over to you, Brito.
Right. Yes, Peter.
Well, I think both of you pretty much nail it. I guess there is a question from the
Yes,
participant.
I want to
Yes.
put that question to both of you again, and I think both of you should look at it, and probably Lokesh, you should be looking at it more.
I
But
think the best answer to this is N95 mask.
let me put the question
Congratulations.
for the audience to know. We have a question from Raghavendra, which is like, how we are taking care of air quality or airborne COVID virus at workplace? Is there any solution to it? So over to you, Lokesh, on this. Yeah.
Yeah, Raghvendra, thanks for the question. So, on a lighter side, please use mask. That was an advisory to all the employees. But yes, there are claims from various, startups that they have designed, developed, and to the extent they have patented also some of the products which claim to kill the virus in the air. I visited, a well-known clothing brand, and I saw this instrument, mounted on the wall. Which I asked him out of curiosity, "What is this?" And it said it kills coronavirus in the air, 99.9%. Authenticity, I don't know, but yes, there are many startups, many manufacturers which claim to negate or nullify or neutral the virus, but it is yet to be verified. There is no such ready solution available. The best way is precaution. The best way is keeping yourself safe and maintaining social distancing. If you are exposed, please quarantine yourself. And if you know somebody is exposed, please keep away and get vaccinated. Those are the only known solutions. But yes, science and technology has no end. We can always hope for a solid solution backed by facts. Thanks. That is as the little knowledge I have about it.
So, Brito, do you get this kind of question in your company? Do
Well, so far not yet, but I we did have
let me take you to days back to Aditi then. Was this question asked then?
yes, yes. At that point, yes, we did because that's the point when people had a lot of fear. But like Lokesh mentioned, what we did is we had N95 masks placed at the entrance. So people, even if they forget to carry, so they can just pick one and wear it. and it was regularly sanitized. Most of the times it was sanitized right in front of them. So, so that they also had the confidence that, everything is taken care and all the social distancing markings. And we also ventilated the space as much as we can.
Yeah.
That really helped, and obviously the facility should also have such options to have that ventilation. But otherwise, yes, those were some of the measures we did.
I think
I
Manish,
want to come.
the mask was the better solution because according to a proven study, if there are two people, one is a carrier and another is a healthy person, are locked up in a room, one is wearing a 95 mask, which is a carrier, and the other one is wearing a normal mask, it will take only 2 hours for the other person to get infected. But if both are wearing, and there were various permutation and combinations, but in the end, what I want to share here with everybody is, if both of those persons who are locked up in that room wore that N95 mask, it will take 7 days for this person to get affected. So this is a
Wow.
proven study.
Wow.
So yes, I think N95 is the answer.
Thank you. I think we are quite over the time, but
Yeah.
I'll come back to one question which I wanted to ask, and I had told you earlier that I'm going to put the same question back in a different avatar. And that question is, we are bringing employees back, and we are as expecting, and that's how I'm getting to hear from the market. Eventually, everybody has to come back to office. Most of the companies are talking, right? Everybody has to come back to office, which means if the office has a capacity of 100%, today companies are looking at how do we optimize it to 120, 125%, 130%, because many companies have hired more than the space seats that they have in their companies. In most of the unicorns also, if you see, most of the companies have hired more number of people than the seats that they have, which means the role of a admin is going to be how do you optimize this workplace in a scenario where you have moved in, and you need to make it 120% more capable, which means then it has a direct impact on P&L. You are able to save more money, you are able to get the optimization, and you are able to show those on the books of account, because HR or admin function is now not a support function, it's a boardroom function now, which means you are also equally responsible for the P&L of the company. And
Yeah.
eventually everything boils down to the cost, right? Whichever solution you are taking, adopting in the company, it has to have certain impact on the cost of the company, which means either it should give me better benefits out of it and I'm able to measure that, or it should not eventually give me losses that I'm spending it, but it's like only 30 people are coming out of a 500 office space. How does it matter to me, right? But if you have a 500 seating office and you are able to manage 800 people in that on using a hybrid tool, which is where the technology role comes in, do you see moving there in those directions? Because I'm getting to hear that.
So I think Manish, great question, and probably all of us are trying to find a great solve for it. But then let's start from the beginning. We should also understand where we are now and where we want to go. What is that? What is the capacity utilization as on today, and what is the projection, and what is the hiring that is going to happen in next quarter or 2 quarters or 3 quarters? Uh, what is the markup that you're looking for? What is the spend you are looking forward to? And what is that you're trying to save? Trying to save at the cost of employee experience is a big no. Without him, so gone are the days when Lokesh could have a nameplate outside his cabin. This cabin belongs to Lokesh, so and so. Now any chairs is anybody's chair. Any
Correct.
meeting room is anybody's meeting room. To the
No, I,
extent,
I am just adding to this point that if Manish has to go to office, I don't necessarily have to go to 5 days in a week to office. I'm
yeah,
going for 3 days in a week to office, and 2 days somebody else will be taking my seat. So that is where the optimization is happening at. One seat is now being used by 2 or 3 people because I might be going for 2 days. My job function is also I'm in sales, I'm traveling, so my seat can be utilized by 3 other employees on a 5 different given days, right? So that's what I was trying to aim to talk to. And obviously, this will be manageable more when you have a technology which is supporting this.
this is in true sense the hybrid we are talking about.
Correct. Exactly.
No,
That's what I was trying
once
to bring it up to.
exactly this is where we wanted this forum to reach, and probably audience to understand. Uh, one solution for many people, but it is a collaborative effort towards sharing the correct information in a timely manner, probably sharing with the right people, and also using that information to find a great solve, right solve. So this is achievable with human mind and technologies partnership.
Absolutely, absolutely, brilliant, bingo. You're right on the point. Thank you so much, Brito. How much do you agree to that? And do you see that
I
scenario?
totally agree. Totally
Because
agree. And you won't believe, Manish, we have
yeah,
grown three times already. So if everybody decides to come to work, there is no place for people to sit. And with future hiring projections, I think it's only going to make it more complicated. But like Lokesh rightfully said, I mean, how you collaborate within your important functions and all these key roles like IT and facilities, they're no longer outside the boardroom, they're in the boardroom. So you need to involve them on all these decisions that you make and have those conversations around how is our growth and how we can accommodate. And there is no solution that's going to just fit us or any solution anyone else. No one size fits all approach, right? So we really need to brainstorm at that point, understand what is the need, and then try and solve at that point, at least for now. Maybe later on, if everything settles down, endemic is there, and we have no fear, then possibly then we might expand our real estate footprint and probably can accommodate a lot more people in the office. That's what I feel. But I think that's an amazing point Lokesh mentioned.
I think
brilliant.
Manish, one more point. Sorry, I'm saying
No, sure,
because
please.
we have already crossed our time, but then very important, very interesting also. Gone are the days when people used to hire a software agency and tell them, "Yeah, please make a solution for me." Now you will have to actively get involved into that solution making at every step. You will have to share inputs because you know your employees better than anybody.
Absolutely, brilliant point. Yes, so those engagements are very much required, and then also one should also focus on what the core is of that company. A lot of company I see, they are trying to their hands on building a certain software internally, but eventually that is not their core, and they have much more other aspect to look at. And when there are brilliant solutions available or the solutions tried and tested solutions available in the market, companies are also looking at. So there are again two sides of this situation companies are looking at. But I think going with focusing on the core and adopting to a solution which can help you to scale and meets your scope, I think that is where we should be aiming to go for. But what I take it from our discussion today, this afternoon, gentlemen, is that the collaboration is the key. Every company is looking at the workplace as a new collaboration space, as a new culture hub, as a place where you're building your organization culture, you're building your social capital. uh, the the sense of belongingness, the sense of bonding has to continue, and that will not happen just by the same traditional way of uh, office utilization in the past. And therefore technology is not the enabler now. Technology is the need, and I think one has to look at technology as a part of life, and then move forward towards it. Because when you're dealing with the digital native era or the generation, we as an organization also have to be meeting those requirements, and we cannot go and work with the colonial era of working, but move with the new generation of working and build it up. So with
Very
that,
true, Manish. We cannot try and make fire by rubbing stone in these days, with each other. We have to leverage on technology. There is no turning back from
absolutely.
going back to the stone age. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we have overshot the time, and I think the engaged discussions. And I still have questions, by the way. I still have questions coming in from the discussion that we have been having. And mind you, I didn't had a question prepared as such, but I think we had very interesting discussion, and I'm looking forward to connect again. If any closing statement that you guys want to make, please do so. Quick 20-second kind of from a HR perspective, from a admin perspective.
From a HR perspective, Manish, I think it's important for every HR professional on this call and anybody who gets to watch this video. It's important to have those authentic conversations with people. It all starts with conversations. Don't rely on just one channel, which is your survey. Rely on various channels. Talk to your managers. Have your managers talk to people. Get a 360-degree perspective. But what's more important is to action on them. It's not just taking all of this and keeping with yourself or in your main books, but really action on them and utilize all the resources and all the great people that you have, the functions, bring them all together. I think we're all in this together, so I'm sure every organization is facing the same challenge, but eventually we can slowly come out and have the right solution for us. That's pretty much what I thank you so much for having me here,
Brilliant.
Manish.
Lokesh, your point. As an organization, we had one theme to work on. In it to win it is how we were looking at, and we were all collectively working towards it. So, yes, Lokesh, your point of view.
I think my first opening sentence will be a big shout out to all the support functions You guys are the real heroes. You have ensured that the show is always on, while the operations, the core business was you know uh, confined to their homes. You ensured that the internet is working, the supplies are there, the laptops are reaching their homes. You did everything which was needed to run the business. Second, I think all the support functions also need to, you know, uh, keep themselves up to date with the technological development, with the needs of the organization, with the pulse of the organization, the pulse of the employees. We may provide any service, but till the time we do not get a pulse of, how the customer or the end user feels about the services given, the circle is not close looped. So I think customer feedback is the essence. Admin, HR, IT, training, whatever we do, the feedback has to be taken from the end user, and how we can improve is everyday task. It's not a one-time effort. We have to improve every day. We have to improvise every day. I am sure everybody has sailed safely during these Corona times. The need of the hour is to stay alert, stay safe, follow all the protocols, and provide good, healthy environment workplace to the your team members, and keep rocking, guys. I think great session, Manish. Thanks for inviting.
Much.
A lot
Thank
of
you so much.
insights, and I have also learned a lot from you and Brito, and look forward to such more sessions together.
Thank you so much. So I'm just summing it up that the communication is the key, and from HR perspective, and what Lokesh you just said, 360-degree communication is important. So communication is the key, collaboration is the tool, and technology is the bridge which is going to connect everything together. So with that, thank you so much for your time. And incidentally, we are on a digital platform and talking and having this discussion. Hopefully, we are going to meet in physical very soon. And Lokesh, I am looking forward that hopefully you are going to be catching up in Delhi 2 weeks down the line. But
Look forward.
we will do that. And Brito, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate.